Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's the first video I've done outside or in the woods in quite some time. I'm just testing out my new camera. I'm pretty excited about it. Not too expensive, but I finally got a few bucks and I decided to do something that I wanted to do and take this YouTube video, this YouTube channel on the road. Now, it's all like, I don't know what the volume's going to be like. I don't know what the picture quality is going to be like. Anything like that. I'm just trying my best. So I'm out in the woods here, not just outside of my town. I got my bug spray as usual. And it's a beautiful day. As you see, it's partly cloudy, partly sunny. I'm just about, I don't know, 100 meters from the road. I'm sure this is someone's land, but I don't think that should matter. Anyway, and I didn't know what to talk about today because I didn't have another book read or anything. So I'm just going to talk about one single subject from a book I just got. You've probably heard of Joseph Campbell, and this one's called The Romance of the Grail, The Magic and Mystery of Arthurian Myth. And it looked really cool to me. As you know, I've read a bit of the Arthurian stuff, and I like medieval literature, and so that's why I bought this book. I hadn't heard of it before. I knew Joseph Campbell, of course, from what people are talking a lot about, the hero's journey guy. So he's the hero's journey guy, the hero of 1,000 faces, whatever the name of his books are. And I didn't know, but let's just see here now. Yeah, it's probably his best known books are The Hero with 1,000 Faces. That's probably the most popular one. But he's a specialist on, well, obviously myth, Western mythology, also like other mythologies as well. And he's written specific studies on James Joyce. A couple of them, actually. So, yeah, and The Hero's Journey, that's another one of the books. So, I didn't know this at the time, but this wasn't a book he wrote. This is a collection of studies on the topic of the King Arthur cycles and stuff that an editor put together. So, I think it's probably a series of studies rather than a consistent narrative or a consistent argument. But I'm not doing a review of this book. I'm actually just going to talk about one thing. And so when I started reading this the other day, it was interesting and everything, but I was kind of offended by a few things. Like, we all have opinions, right? And we study things and write about things that we think are important, that we value, that we're super interested in, that we love. But we kind of got to keep our opinions out of it as much as we can, or at least frame our opinion and say, this is my opinion, or this is just the way I see it, this is what I like, and so on. This isn't necessarily true, but here's my argument, right? And I find Joseph Campbell is not too good at that. And it was one final statement, one final sentence that just got into my graw, and kept thinking about it for a couple days. He was talking about the collapse of the Roman Empire, and he said, the Christians were comparable, I would say, to the communists in our part of the world today. They were eating it from the outside like maggots. So the Christians were eating the Roman Empire like maggots, like the communists in our part of the world today. So the communists today, okay, in his time was I guess he probably wrote this in a couple decades ago anyway, maybe 50 years ago. So, I mean, I don't like communists any more than anybody else does, but I'm not really sure how you can say that the communists are like maggots eating a dead body or whatever. Like, that might be applicable to the Russian Empire, maybe? The Russian Empire had some serious problems, the late Tsarist regime, but was it in any worse shape than the Ancien regime in France? at the end of the 18th century. He doesn't call the French revolutionaries maggots. And in China, that's not the case at all. The Chinese empire had been dead for a long time, I suppose. China had been dead for a long time, and you know, in a way, the communists, sure, after 80 million deaths, they started fixing up the place, right? Now, so back to the thing that I really care about. I mean, I'm not Christian, but I deeply adore, deeply esteem Christian civilization, the Christian religion, and when we're talking about something like the Arthurian myth, medieval culture is a beautiful instantiation of German, Celtic, to a lesser extent Slavic traditions plus Christianity. There is no Arthurian cycle. There's no medieval literature without Christianity. I don't think even as far back as Beowulf can you say Beowulf is a pre-Christian thing. It certainly gives more signs of Nordic paganism than it does Christianity, but it was written, I believe, in Britain in the Christian era. And the Arthurian legends are so bloody Christian, and if you value them, then you have to value Christianity for making them what they are. They are impossible without Christianity, you know. And the attitude that Joseph Campbell seems to have is kind of reminds me of the whole Nazi approach of degrading the Judeo-Christian tradition and praising the Teutonic, the Germanic tradition. And it's unintelligible to me because on what basis are you praising the Nordic or Teutonic traditions? And you see this a lot in movies right now. I don't watch any of those Viking shows, but I saw recently that the tendency now is to make the heroes in these Viking things the pagans and make the Christians like the bad people. And I really can't understand how somebody can reasonably do that. But I suppose it's like the Kingdom of Heaven movie, where the Muslims are the great ones and the Christians are the awful ones. Somebody recently told me that's not the case with the Kingdom of Heaven, but that's my 20-year memory of the movie. So, on what basis is Christianity... So, Joseph Campbell also says that he calls Christianity an Eastern thing. It's not a European thing. He calls it an Eastern thing. He says it's from the Eastern world. But I gotta tell you, when you're talking about the middle and late first millennium AD, Christianity is, and you're talking about the Arthurian writings, Christianity turned them into what they are, okay? Turn this previous tradition, and this character Arthur was apparently a king of Britain or something before the Christian times. Well, the Arthur we got is Christian, right? And we can't talk about what he was before that because we have no information on such a person and there's no literature about such a person. So, speaking of Christianity as an imposition on Europe is just ridiculous. And you're saying then that Europe is Gallic or Celtic, Europe is Nordic, but it's not Christian. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Christianity and Judaism grew up in the Mediterranean. They were home in the Mediterranean. They were more part of Roman civilization than was Gaul, than was Britain, than was Scandinavia. Judaism was more part of Roman culture and Greco-Roman culture than Celtic culture was. So you might say that Rome and Greece were impositions on Europe, but you can't single out Christianity and say it was hostile, it was foreign, it was Eastern. Christianity was more at home in the Roman Empire than the Celts were, and I don't understand where this animosity comes from. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope this video works out. Bye!